April 1861. Cannons roar at Fort Sumter. The United States, once united under one flag, now stands divided. The cause? A question that had haunted America since its birth, slavery. In the years to come, more than 600,000 Americans would die, and the nation would be forever changed. This is the story of the American Civil War, brother against brother, freedom against oppression, a struggle that defined a nation. Chapter 1: A Nation on the Edge. In the decades before the war, the United States was a land of contrasts. The North was industrial, urban, and modernizing rapidly. The South remained largely rural, dependent on cotton, and built on the labor of enslaved African Americans. The issue of slavery was not new. Since the nation's founding, it had been an open wound, debated but never healed. 1820, Missouri Compromise, temporary peace. 1850s, new territories reignite the debate. 1857, the Dred Scott decision denies citizenship to Black Americans. 1859, John Brown's raid on Harper's Ferry sends shockwaves across the South. Then came the election of Abraham Lincoln in 1860. To the South, Lincoln's victory was a threat to their way of life. To the North, it was a hope for change. But compromise was over. By early 1861, 11 Southern states seceded to form the Confederate States of America, choosing Jefferson Davis as their president. Lincoln refused to recognize secession. The stage was set. Chapter 2: The War Ignites. April 12, 1861. Confederate cannons opened fire on Fort Sumter in Charleston Harbor. The war had begun not with a clash of armies, but with thunder from the sea. The Union, unprepared, scrambled for soldiers. Men volunteered in the tens of thousands, expecting the war to last only a few months. Families waved goodbye, not knowing many would never return. First Battle of Bull Run, July 1861. Crowds of civilians came to watch, expecting a quick Union victory. Instead, the Union was routed. The realization sank in. This would be a long, bloody war. Chapter 3: The War Grows Fierce. 1862 to 1863 saw some of the bloodiest fighting in American history. Battle of Antietam, September 1862. American history. 22,000 casualties. The fields ran red with blood. After Antietam, Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation in January 1863. From that moment, the war was no longer just about preserving the Union. It became a battle for freedom. It declared enslaved people in rebel states free. It allowed African Americans to enlist in the Union Army. Over 180 Black soldiers would fight for the Union's cause. Then came Gettysburg, July 1863. 3 days of hell, nearly 50,000 casualties. Pickets charge a desperate Confederate assault. Gettysburg marked the turning point. The South would never again invade the North. Chapter 4: Total War. By 1864, Union strategy shifted. Generals like Ulysses S. Grant and William Tecumseh Sherman took command. Grant launched relentless campaigns in Virginia. Sherman cut through Georgia in his infamous March to the Sea, burning crops, railroads, and cities. Sherman's march was not just war against armies, it was war against the South's very ability to fight. It broke Confederate morale. Meanwhile, in Washington, Lincoln faced re-election in 1864. Many doubted he would win, but Sherman's victories turned the tide, and Lincoln was re-elected, promising not just union, but freedom. Chapter 5: The Confederacy Collapses. Spring 1865. The Confederate cause was dying. Starvation spread through the South. Armies dwindled. Supplies vanished. On April 9, 1865, at Appomattox Courthouse, General Robert E. Lee surrendered to Ulysses S. Grant. The war was over. The Union had survived. But just days later, on April 14, 1865, President Abraham Lincoln was assassinated at Ford's Theater by John Wilkes Booth. The nation wept. In victory came sorrow. Lincoln would not live to see the peace he had fought for. Chapter 6. A Nation Reborn. The war left deep scars. Over 620,000 Americans dead, cities in ruins, families broken. But slavery was abolished. The 13th Amendment made freedom the law of the land. Reconstruction began an effort to rebuild the South and integrate freed slaves into American life. It was a new birth of freedom, but not without struggle. Hatred lingered. The fight for equality would continue for generations. Even today, the Civil War shapes America. The monuments, the debates, the memory of a nation divided, yet determined to heal. The Civil War was not only a battle for territory, it was a battle for the soul of America. And though the guns fell silent more than 150 years ago, its echoes remind us still that freedom is never free.